Hello, everybody. If you think that sounded good here, you should hear it on these MV1 headphones. Sony's got great sound. I'm honestly thinking about that, not even being silly. My name's Adam Weissler. I am the music reporter for Extra TV and a proud member of the Recording Academy, and I love joining up with Sony here at NAMM every year, and we have a great panel here today. Today we're talking about these MV1 headphones, and I'm going to go down the line and just tell you guys who's here, and they can tell you a little bit about themselves. First, Will Chason.
Hey everybody, my name is Will. I'm an audio engineer and producer. I've been lucky to work with a lot of really great artists, people like Lil Nas X, Ye, Tyler the Creator, and kind of goes on. Happy to be here with everybody on stage and talking to y'all.
And Mike.
What's up, everybody? My name is Mike Benj. I'm a music producer and a drummer. Went to Berklee College of Music. Worked with a few artists. Also worked with Netflix, Universal, Sony. List goes on and on and on. Thank you for being here.
And Landen's a special Sony audio ambassador, so it's great to have you here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I'm Landen. I am a content creator, YouTube, TikTok, all the short form stuff, getting into long form, and yeah, music niche stuff. Whether I'm banging on random objects, making music out of it, or playing the talk box, it's kind of my thing. So yeah.
What's going on, everybody? I'm ROC.am, artist, producer, pro audio engineer, specifically in the immersive space. Work with like talents like Rihanna, her, a lot of legacy and catalog stuff, and you know, super experimental, just really all for the creator and just creating for the future of music. So,
what's up? I'm Scott McDowell. I'm an indie producer engineer up in San Francisco. I've worked with Feist, Ty Segall, The Head and the Heart, and for the last 5 years, I've been composing music for video games. So that's actually my introduction to more of these immersive formats, is making music for video games.
Very cool. So we have a little video we're going to watch first that kind of introduces what we're talking about, and then we'll get to the panel. So go ahead and roll that.
Headphones are a tool. I spend so much of my time in headphones. The last couple of years, I've started to embrace being a digital nomad, and I've managed to mix really successful records for my clients from headphones in different locations. I don't know what laws of physics they broke to make these headphones work, but they sound stunning.
First impression was to me like just mind-blowing. The range of the sound was incredible, and how precise and how details are there.
A really focused bottom end, a really detailed mid-range, a really smooth top end, but it's present, it's right there. I'm not just some person that jumps on new headphones the moment I hear them. I'm actually really conservative. I could easily work in these headphones all day long.
That's just mind-blowing technology to me.
Very nice, very nice. Headphones are so important. I have them on all day long just for fun and for listening. You guys probably have headphones on all the time just for listening. This is a part of what you guys do daily for your work and for your artistry. Talk about your first experience, Will, with these headphones. How were these brought to you? Where did you hear about them?
Yeah, I first got experience these on the Sony lot, and yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing, honestly. I mean, it's there's no aspect of it that's overhyped, and it's really accurate, but you just hear this like incredible detail. And what's really cool is it kind of works in this larger ecosystem with virtual mix engine and all this other kind of tools that allow you to go from room to room and still deliver consistent results. So yeah, been really happy working with them for the past couple months, and they're definitely my go-tos now.
Very cool. Mike, how about you?
My first time working with the headphones was in the immersive studio at Sony on the lot as well. And then I put them to the test on a tour bus for the first time, and they actually came through for me because I was mixing a record for an album, and I was able to get the same natural sound from the sounds that I was using, because there's typically different EQs that come with headphones that either add too much bass or too much high end, so it kept everything really flat, so all the frequencies were very balanced when I used it, so it came through for me on that tour bus.
Yeah, the first time I used the MV1s was also on the panel last year at NAMM. There was a extreme. If you haven't done the demo yet, it's insane. Definitely try that out. And then I've been using them since right after that, maybe probably around 6 months or so. And any of the mixing I'm doing for my videos on YouTube and all that, it's using those. And I just did a record with Chris Calico, played Talkbox on one of his songs that's going to be coming out. So that was the first kind of, real mixing with the Talkbox, which was really cool. Interesting.
My first experience was also on the Sony lot in Culver City, as most of us had it, and it was cool because I'm really committed and loyal to the things that I like to use, and I was using another set of headphones that I travel with, and now I have to travel with 2 pairs, but it's okay, and I really didn't understand how powerful they were until I listened to them in the immersive space. And, it was easier to identify the localization, specifically with 360 reality audio. And then from there, I kind of started to use them for other things. And I realized that they do have a beautiful, natural, flat sound. And, it was just, they're easy, they're comfortable, and they come with a nice little bag to, put away. So, it's convenient.
That stuff's important, yeah.
I've only really been using these headphones for about 2 months. My first introduction was at this Sony artist camp that you saw in the video. But before that, I've been mixing in headphones increasingly as I start to travel. Like last summer, I spent a month in Croatia, and I was still working. And I'm so conservative about switching my setup. Like, ask my studio partners, our speakers are 15 years old. They keep talking about changing them, and I'm like, they're fine. I don't want to learn something new. And when I heard these, it was initially for the 360 reality thing, and it was stunning. But then I was just like, how do they sound in stereo? And within 5 minutes, I was like, these are my new daily drivers. This is just how I want to work every day. They're comfortable. They're light. You barely feel. If you've done the demo, half the feeling is like, is there even something on my head right now? And they're really soft, and they sound fantastic. You get the job done.
You talk about the barely something on your head thing. The first time I tried these on, and everyone probably has a different experience with this, you're wondering if you're even hearing through the headphones, you're hearing the room, and there's always that first wow, and you want to be convinced. If you can, let me talk about that experience, Will, and how unique that was.
Yeah, especially, in combination with the virtual mix engine, it's a really out-of-body experience. I really would recommend trying it out because it's some crazy stuff. But I think overall these headphones are really comfortable, but the thing is they're not they're not delicate either. So traveling around with them has been no issues at all, where other open back headphones I've had have definitely broken quite a bit of headphones on the road. And these have lasted, so been really happy about that. But it's somehow they got lightweight and sturdy in the same package.
Very cool. The open back stuff specifically, if you can talk about that, Mike, what that means and how that works.
For me, so the open back specifically?
The open back, or just the headphones themselves, just that wow moment of first trying them on, but but the open back as well, sure.
Got you. So for me, when I tried them on, it was also to Bro's point, the ruggedness of the headphones in terms of the durability for me happened on a tour bus as well. So I had them in my book bag, and I realized that they had the little bag that you can put them in. And when you take them out of that bag, or when I took it out the bag and used them, I was able to use them in different environments where typically you wouldn't use headphones because of what may be going on, whether it's the temperature of the room or whatever the case may be. So I feel like for that and that aspect of it, it's very important to have something that's that durable that can stand the test of time in regards to usage. The open back part of it is interesting because the frequencies that you're getting when you're listening to certain songs or mixing or producing records is usually, it can be convoluted based on what you're around environmentally. But these headphones keep everything true and flat, so it keeps all of the sounds that you're hearing balanced, per se. And it gives you an opportunity to hear everything truly in the dimension that you're working in.
Yeah, as a creator yourself and an artist and doing this, talk about that aspect of it, just the design and how it works specifically with what you do, because what you do here is a little different than what everyone else does.
Sure, yeah. So when I did first try them on, the feeling is crazy. It feels almost like you put them on, they're so light, and you think, oh, they used a pretty cheap plastic. But when you actually look at it, it is metal. It is not even plastic. That's how light it is, and that's why they're so durable, which is really interesting because all the other headphones, think of any other brand that has a metal housing, they're probably pretty heavy. So it's really interesting. My ears in particular, I am very sensitive to like this part of my ear. So if there's anything touching at all for like 20 minutes, it'll start to hurt. These go all the way around your ears. Feels great. I love it. I love that part. But me using them with the open back and everything day to day, it's great. I need to mix with different environments. The stuff that I make, the videos that I make, everybody's watching this on I'd say 70%, 80% are watching on a speaker on their phone, whether it's on YouTube or TikTok or whatever it is. So the air being able to pass through these headphones in the open back design really helps being able to mix for that. And yeah.
And for you as well, Rock, in terms of the open back part of this, because that's a special new feature.
Yeah, for sure. Well, with the open back, I think it just allows, especially working in a lot of hip hop and pop, it just keeps that low end really tight and open and big and accurate. I think it just environmentally too, when you're in places where, things aren't well acoustically treated and stuff like that, which normally I'm in. I'm a mobile person, so a mobile solution is always like ideal for me due to like traveling a lot. I can make, really distinctive and decisions and be very confident on what I'm going to do and know that, the end game to that could be a fair chance of the final delivery, And like I said, I've used so many different pairs of headphones, and I usually like to commit, but once I found just the durability and the comfortability was a big thing too. I also have like a sensitive side when it comes to the ears. If there's a set that doesn't really sit too well after a certain amount of time, it is irritating. And, I mix for a long, long time. So I love to make sure that I'm working with product that doesn't fatigue, either my ears or any parts of, my ears. So it's important that I'm able to have those and to be able to have long-lasting mixes while I'm on the plane or while I'm in, another studio and other people are working. It's just super convenient, and I think that's what's important, especially in this fast-paced, growing industry.
Yeah, and Scott, if you can talk about how this sounds with the kind of artists you work with as well, with the indie rock sound and how that works specifically for this, and also the comfort of these and why you were so amazed by them.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the sound, I think any genre, you just want good monitors that are flat that you can hear, and like you said, that are comfortable. I also work long hours. Sometimes I'm in the studio with an artist in the control room with me, and I used to hate that because the headphones that I used to wear for those situations, I would go with closed back, and you just feel a little more isolated. You hear that resonance, and it's like at first no, but after an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, you're just feeling like it just starts to build up and wear you down, and you feel tired. And so that's why I switched to open backs probably like 5 or 6 years ago, because I realized I'm not working on the train or buses as much as I thought I was, and I'm usually in a good room. And open backs they don't just sound better like night and day, they do, but they're just more comfortable for long hours. For mixing or, like I said, recording. And that is the thing I do. I work with a lot of full bands, and it's not uncommon for there to be too many people in the live room, and there's some like singer-songwriter playing acoustic guitar, and I got to put her in the control room with me, and that means I'm working in headphones that day. And so, again, having a comfortable pair of cans, or when I'm doing destination records at some Airbnb somewhere, having a pair of cans that I can work in all day long and feel comfortable that alone is worth it. And the fact that they sound better than any other cans is almost bonus, but also great.
Yeah, I think that even with the price point and what you're getting as far as the quality it's pretty amazing. I've had headphones from like $6,000 to the less amount of the less price, and it's just like with that price point and what you're getting, it's a lot, and it's amazing.
And talk about, as you're an artist yourself, but as artists as well, their experience with these and seeing you guys work with these, what that's like for artists and how amazed they are when they put these headphones on.
Well, listen, it's a big influence, especially in the creative space. when I started wearing them and doing stuff with Sony, people who weren't even in music were like, I need to get a pair of those. And as far as like the influence goes, I think Sony is just known for their electronics and their products. But when they see people actively using them in a lifestyle kind of setting, it makes people wonder like, why are these headphones so great? And then they actually get to hear and listen to them and kind of understand from a consumer perspective, like, hey, I see why these are good. But from pro audio sides, it's just like, again, the things that we kept talking about convenience, comfortability, and the flat frequency responses and stuff like that, it makes them worth it. And even, I have hair, my pair has this like, kind of like, I don't know the texture of it, but the headband just have a texture on it that doesn't like intrude on your hair. So when you have your hair situated, it doesn't make it.
Scott could add to that conversation.
Yeah. Right?
I'll back that up.
So even like the little details on stuff like that is just super important, and it makes it available for everyone, not just pro audio guys, not just, artists, but whoever wants to take a higher level into just audiophile and want to hear things in higher fidelity. That's what it is.
Very cool. Will, you mentioned the VME, the virtual mixing environment. If you can talk a little more about that and how that works with the measurements and all that, and why these headphones are so important for that.
Definitely. Real quick though, I kind of want to add what ROC was saying, which I think one of the things I've noticed with his headphones is when I show them to people, I have to like ask for them back. I'm like, and they're like, no, it's like that's happened every time. But yeah, the virtual mix engine is a really kind of just mind-blowing technology. I mean, it kind of like spooked me a little bit, honestly, the first time I heard it, because you really, once that measurement's dialed in, you cannot tell if it's coming from the speakers of your headphones, and you keep like trying to, see if they're tricking you, but it's like very extremely realistic. It helps so much with spatial recognition, and I think for me, like oftentimes on many standard HRTF profiles, I don't get the object recognition that much. I can't really hear above or below me. Maybe sometimes I can hear behind me, but once I got measured, I was like, oh, this is it. This is the way to experience immersive, and so it's pretty mind-blowing stuff.
And the other guys can talk about just using this for immersive and for 360 stuff with these headphones specifically for that aspect. I don't know if Mike, you want to talk about that first.
So in layman's terms, what we're saying is that the headphones that we're using has the ability to take the sounds that you would hear in an immersive environment like this and put them into the headphones and take that anywhere you go without having to be in said room. So that room sounds like what it would sound like in the headphones. So you're getting that same experience from the room into the headphones, whether you're on a tour bus, on an airplane, in another studio, so on and so forth. And the ability to do that is cool because if you're mixing records, or technically they say not to produce with them, I'm producing with them because they sound great. But if you're mixing records or working on records, you're still getting that same environmental experience, and it doesn't sound any different from coming through a speaker system because it's literally copying and pasting what your ears are picking up from that microphone that they put in your ears to test it and putting it into those headphones. So now nothing changes in regards to what you're hearing. And then when using the technology that we have to mix in the spatial audio format or the 360 format, it allows you to still keep that same interpretation of what you heard in that studio and use that in different environments. So it's pretty diverse for that.
Pretty incredible. And I know there's a chance you guys can get measured and do that here today still too and try out these headphones yourselves, and it's pretty exciting. Landon, your experience with that, doing what you do, because again, that's something special and unique and different on the panel, and how that, maybe that 360, have you used it with the 360 or VME at all, or have you experienced that?
So I've done the demo.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to mix or anything with it. Unfortunately, YouTube and TikTok and all that, they're not quite as advanced yet. But thinking about it, now y'all have provoked the question. Now I'm thinking, with these video formats, once they really start implementing the 360 audio like that could be crazy for video. And then we were actually talking a little bit before about VR, and once you have this, the Vision Pro coming out, and some lots of other companies with new VR technology, that could be insane. when you're starting to build in 360 reality audio with, obviously, you're fully immersed in VR, that could be pretty crazy.
As someone who cares about audio so much, and you're talking about things, most people are listening to it on their phones. How frustrating is that for you? How much is it do you really, you want to make sure everyone hears it the right way, or do you have to let it go and just know people are going to have different kind of devices? And what's that dynamic like?
Right. So that is a little frustrating because let's say I'm using a synth, like a bass synth sound. Man, that does not come through speakers. You're going to have your volume all the way up on your phone to be able to hear the tone coming from like a bass synth sound or some kind of kick that I'm doing. And then it is frustrating. It is frustrating. But I do try to balance it out. One of the first things you kind of learn when you're learning to mix audio is you do have to mix on other devices. Like you have to listen to it on headphones. You got to listen to it on speakers, phone speakers, car speakers, all that kind of stuff. I don't listen to my TikToks on car speakers, but... so it can be frustrating, but I, use as much as I can to make it sound good everywhere I can.
But in general, and you as well, Rock and Scott, you guys are the best at what you do as well, and you want to make everything perfect. And then when people are listening to this on all types of devices and all types of speakers and every kind of environment, what's that like for you? Because you still want the best product out there, and it's going to be, across the board.
Yes, yeah. So that is, with these headphones in particular, that open back design I was talking about earlier, that does free up a lot of, it makes me have to listen to less devices, I would say, because before I would listen on, some noise canceling headphones, non-open back headphones, and that is not the same as a speaker on your phone coming through the actual air that, that's a completely different sound. So with these, with the open back, I have to mix on less devices, I would say.
So, Rock, so then in that sense, it changes the way you do your work, right? Just the workflow is different?
The workflow is entirely different. And like I was saying before, it's with VME, and I've been saying this shit like all weekend throughout the week, music and tech is like in full parallel. So, to finally have something and technology made for music to be an accessory to all of your products is a game changer, right? So, like we were talking in the other panel, imagine, having a VME profile for your car to listen to what your car would sound like. I mean, obviously you can still get in your car, but it may be convenient to not go in your car, or it may be convenient to have a profile specifically for TikTok or for your iPhone. So, the idea of what this can be and what the future is for music is just allowing creatives to do a lot more and produce more. We're in a highly volatile environment where it's like our sense of ADHD and our we want things fast and quick, and with these tools we'll be able to do that and do it at the convenience to please all of the consumers and the listeners and viewers. So
yeah.
I would also say I am crazy and I listen to everything on lots of speakers as well. But the catch with VME is that it's not just for immersive. Like you said, it could be stereo, it could be your car, it could be anything. I mean, I don't have all those profiles yet, but I can imagine getting them. But the other thing is I've been in situations where you've got clients and you're trying to figure out, they're hearing this crazy thing on their crappy speaker at home. They're hearing this thing and they're trying to give me feedback. I work in video, like I said, I work in video games. You've got so many investors, a lot of people with a lot of money, with big egos, with a lot of ideas, and they have bad listening environments. And it's hard, how much do I weight their opinion, their feedback on what I'm doing when I know that they can't really even hear it correctly? And the thing that's amazing about the potential of VME is that I could get all those heads over to my studio. We could all get profiles from my studio, and then they can give feedback from wherever they are in the world, hearing it like they're in my studio. And they can listen on their listening environment, and then they can listen in my virtual studio and adjust their notes accordingly. And we're all listening to the same thing and talking about the same thing. And tying it back to the headphones and the open back, these headphones are the perfect headphones for that situation because they have no color, because they're so good at reproducing, what you're putting into them. Whereas closed backs, that have looser low end or just have more of a resonance, there's gonna be those other issues that play into it. And so, it was literally VME blows your mind when you try the tech, and then I can imagine the team at Sony is like, how do we make the perfect cans for this? And it just turns out that those perfect cans are also great for stereo. And when I was working, recently I was playing around for this weekend to get a 360 mix together. And yeah, I definitely was checking it in the VME and then also referencing just stereo in the headphones and seeing how those competed. And one pair of cans, multiple listening environments.
Well, Scott, what's the satisfaction like in turning in having that conversation with, say, video game executives or other clients, and you show them through that way you just demonstrated or through any of your great techniques and seeing them kind of turn and know they're in the right hands with you and because you have these devices to help?
So sorry.
Just the satisfaction in doing that because
I mean, it just allows you to focus on working on the high level stuff, being creative, having fun, making the music awesome, instead of sitting there going, this client's hearing some weird resonance at 200 that is not there. And we're going back and forth on email trying to settle this problem. And I think they're crazy. And maybe they are, maybe I'm wrong. But like when I know we're listening in the same environment, it doesn't make me question that they're crazy. If they're still hearing it, then fine, I'll deal with it. But when I'm like, dude, I've been in your car. It's a crappy car. I know it blows up in that weird spot. Like, how much weight do I want to put it to make it sound perfect in your car? I mean, I'm not saying I'm not going to do that because they're paying me. But again, like if the goal is not the goal is my client, but more than my client, it's my client's fans, right? And so it's like I have to like balance
and your future.
What my client, yeah, I want my client to be happy, but more importantly, I want my client to release this and sell a lot of copies and have everybody love it and everybody tell them it sounds good so that this client comes back and keeps working with me.
Sure.
And if I listen, it's like if I just do what they're asking me right now for their crappy car, I could be preventing myself from working with them 5 years from now because I made a bad mix.
I'm sure you guys all feel similarly with everything you're doing, yeah. It's been mentioned a few times, but for those that don't understand, we talk about frequency response range and how these headphones help with that, engaging all that accurately. Whoever wants to speak to that.
I mean, it's flat from 5 to 80, like 80 kilohertz. That's crazy. I honestly don't mix too often above 48 kilohertz, but knowing that it's flat all the way up there sounds stunning. And I imagine that even when I'm working at 48, I'm curious, like going into VME, is it, no, I guess if the audio engine, I mean, when it comes to aliasing, when it comes to all of these situations, the types of things that can mess with the sound, these headphones are ready to handle it. And way beyond what my 43-year-old ears can even handle. And it really does sound and feel flat and focused. It's punchy.
Yeah, to add to that, the low distortion was cool. Like I use a lot of other accessories along with them. Like I have digital audio converters and all of these DACs and stuff, and I experiment. And I've noticed that I would use those, and that will be something that when I'm in the studio and listening back to the studio, it's giving the perfect emulation of what I created in those headphones. So you want to be concerned about what the input is and how it's coming back. And again, you're making accurate decisions, and it's all about convenience. And we want to make sure that we can get things done quick and that they're right. So that's what these come in, and they're super handy in that.
Anyone else want to speak to that, or?
Yeah. So for what I found with these, they actually have brighter highs than some of the other headphones I've been using, which personally works great for me because, as you probably would know, a mobile speaker, it has no bass at all. So you are getting a very, particular for me and content creators, you are getting a nice bright sound on those highs, so you can really tell what people are hearing when it comes to that aspect. But to counteract the open back system, if you have closed headphones, you're gonna have more bass. That's just how it's gonna be. But you still, like you were saying, have that punchy. There is that bass added, a little bit added in the lower frequencies to counterbalance it, so you're not just hearing highs and mids basically. So I really love the curve of the EQ.
For me, it helped a lot because I was able to get a very clean mix from those headphones. They're very true to the sounds, and a lot of the sounds that I use are 808 heavy. And so, you know, that low end that it gives you because of the flat back and the open back the open back gives you it's a flat EQ, but it gives you a great punchy sound still. So the sounds are still there in terms of like how they come through. It's just really up to you on how you want to mix them and how you want to, you know, kind of EQ them and put them within the mix. But the headphones themselves give me some of the cleanest mixes I've ever heard. And there's other times where you'll use other headphones and you may get a muddy mix. You may get a mix that's kind of like, I don't know. And then you plug the headphones in to your laptop or whatever you're plugging it into, and it may sound different. So that's the testament of how true the sound is, the sound quality of it is.
Well, you as well. Love to get your take on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the accuracy of the low end and the low mids in these headphones. And if your mix doesn't have good low mids, it's not going to be happening at all. So, you know, I think these headphones have enabled me to get there without using speakers, which is pretty remarkable as far as I'm concerned.
Now, Mike, as an artist and musician yourself, and there's one of your fans now. How do these headphones play, if at all? Do you, in terms of the headphones you use, when you're in musician mode and you're on the road or doing everything you do as an artist?
Yep. So I got a whole lot of my friends here that all went to Berkeley and work in the industry, and we use I personally use them to mix, but I also use them to listen to certain songs or certain arrangements. My boy Dweller right there is a great arranger, and so he'll send me a song, and he'll arrange it, and I'll listen to it with the headphones on, and I'll be able to hear certain things that I'll be able to produce or put on drums with those headphones. Or I'll hear like maybe spaces or pockets where he could add strings and different chord progressions or different different musical elements that can make the track fatter. Because sometimes when you're listening to records or when you're listening to arrangements, or say you're playing for something for the BET Awards or the Grammy Awards, they want certain things to sound a certain way when they're coming through the television or they're coming through the speakers. You know, bro. They're coming through all the different elements of whatever you're listening to the music in. And so to have a pair of headphones that can like give you that same sound, either you're doing it through one speaker or you're doing it through the headphones themselves, it's really, like I keep saying, it's really true to the sound that they produce. And so you're able to take a live arrangement, you're able to take a production, you're able to take a podcast mix, you're able to take a studio mix, and you'll still get the same sound that you're looking for with those headphones.
Very good. Just for fun, could you guys tell me the first experience you had with any headphones, maybe as a kid? Did you love it no matter what it was? What was it? Do you remember what you were listening to?
I think I remember the first noise canceling headphones I used, and that was like pretty remarkable. And I actually use the Sony noise canceling headphones quite a bit when I'm traveling and on airplanes and stuff. I really would recommend checking those out too. They're really like just kind of fun to use and make music on. So and with the noise canceling, you can be on an airplane and make like some detailed edits and do stuff like that. But getting used to the Sony stuff has been really awesome, and I think the Sony noise canceling technology is out of control. It's really good. And switching between the two, the open backed, and those have been really awesome to work on.
Could you repeat the question?
Just for fun, like the first time you ever had any headphones, maybe as a kid, the first thing you were listening to and how blown away you were by sound that maybe wasn't half as good as this or anywhere near as good, but you thought they were cool. Just something that kind of helped your artistic progression.
I won't list the company of the headphones that I used to use, but they were cool. And then I grabbed the Sonys. Remind me of the model. What's the Bluetooth model? The latest Bluetooth model?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The M5.
Yeah. Facts. So I use those, and those give a really, really, really good low end as well. You pretty much can get all the frequency scales, but they give a great round sound. And then, as he was saying, the noise canceling is incredible. And then there's another feature that a lot of people don't know, that you can turn on the power of the headphones or power the headphones on while using it to listen to music or produce. And it activates, you probably can explain it better than me, but it activates something, because there's an off mode and then there's an on mode. Yeah. And then when you plug it in, you can use it while it's turned on and use it in noise cancel while making music.
Yeah, I think that's just the noise canceling.
Got you. So pretty much you can use it that way.
I use the noise canceling just as a listener, of course, or on planes or just walking around, and that could be, I forget how great that is, and the world just kind of shuts off, and it can be kind of dangerous sometimes, but the headphones do their job, that's for sure.
Yeah. So if we're talking about first headphones, yeah. I remember my first pair of headphones. I don't know what they were. They were the plastic thin, like, that thin headband that goes around. Then you have the two little black foam pieces. Whatever that was, I have no clue. My first device, my parents gave me a hand-me-down. It was actually a Sony Walkman CD player. And so I would carry that around listening to like random stuff. Star Wars soundtracks, random stuff. But that was the first time, and I would crank those to the max, and you would hear all the bleed coming from all of it. My dad was like, you make sure your ears aren't hurting when you're listening to that stuff. And I'm like, oh, no, they're not. You can just hear everything. They're basically speakers you're putting on your head. Anyways, but if we're talking about, noise-canceling headphones, one of the coolest experience that I've had coming all the way back from those, whatever they were, to now is, the Sony WH-1000 XM5s, the overhead, noise-canceling. They're the best out of everybody's. But the WF-1000 XM5s, those are very, very cool. If you haven't tried them, they're the wireless earbuds, but they're the best noise canceling earbuds right now, wireless earbuds on the market. And when you compare them to the WH-1000, the overheads, it is similar. They are honestly shocking to have that small of a package. And what I'll do is I'll keep my WH-1000 XM5, the overheads, I'll keep those, for the plane, for comfort and stuff like that. But as soon as I get off the plane, throw in the WFs, earbuds, and you get that almost the same sound quality on those little tiny things. They're amazing. And with the pass-through, you can just keep them on all day long. It's perfect.
Yeah, funny enough, so my older brother, he was a rapper. I come from Brooklyn, New York. So like it was a fad when you had like a Walkman and headphones. So I kind of was like always following what he was doing. And I would go in his room and I would take they were Sony headphones too. And I remember they had like a metal like headband, and they were very frail. And there was like the pads, you could pull them off, and I used to lose them. And then I would listen to them without the pads.
It would hurt, but you do it.
Yeah, and that was like the shit. Like I would walk around with them all the time, and you started building a connection with it. I can even still remember like how the tape sounded. Like it was totally a different experience. So that's like when I got started, and I was super young. I must have been like 4 or 5 years old, like digging in his room looking for shit. And then I could remember like, cause I really just got really into pro audio headphones maybe about 5-6 years ago, because mixing in headphones was a myth. That wasn't like something to do. Like that was just like a no-no. You know what I'm saying? So from a cultural perspective, and then like as I got older and started to get into brands and like people, like other people, like Beats was like my first like obsession. But that was just a mix of just fashion and just sports and stuff like that. And it was cool because, again, like I loved hip hop. I loved heavy bass, low end shit. So it was like Beats gave me all of that. It gave me a lot, maybe a little too much. But to the fact that we was able to have that experience was cool. And it opened the door just to so many other successes in the headphone world, from a consumer grade to pro audio space or whatever it is. So.
Like these last two, my first headphones were definitely Sony's.
Yeah.
And I think we were saying I had a Walkman. It was bright yellow, and it was matching yellow headphones. And I remember sitting in my bed listening to Janet Jackson and En Vogue, and so I'm dating myself here, but just loving. Like I remember there was on Rhythm Nation there was this crazy stereo stuff where the sound was like dun 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 dun, and just thinking that was so cool. And that maybe was also like one of my first music production analysis moments as well. But then to follow up on you're right, man. People kind of hate on mixing in headphones. And I still have conversations with people I respect that are like, oh, but I can't really mix in headphones. I gotta be in front of monitors. And I think I figured out how to mix in headphones pretty comfortably like 6 or 7 years ago. But even then, even now, I still question myself when people say, oh, well, but I got to mix on speakers. But for me, I think like around COVID, I started, traveling a little bit, like spending time at my mom's house where I was away from my setup at home, and I had to get the job done in headphones. And I can remember, actually, my stepdad passed away, and I was living with my mom for like 2 weeks to just be there with her, right? Good son, I'd like to think. And I got this call from one of those clients that's like, yo, dude, you know that song we recorded like 2 months ago? We need it mixed by Thursday. And not all artists are like this, but we all know a lot of them are. They are disorganized messes. Why didn't you call me like weeks early if you knew you needed it Thursday? You're calling me on a Tuesday, you need it Thursday. And this is someone I don't want to say no to. A lot of people might be like, well, you'll wait. But this is one of those people. It's this Bay Area band, the California Honey Drops. They're great if you know them. And I'm just like, and this song was fat. I really wanted to mix it. So I was like, you got it. I'll get it done. And my tricks, my NS10s, I have the old Apple earpods, the wired ones. You can get them on Goodwill website. You can get like a 50-pack for like $20. So I do like 60%
These are the tips you guys came for. Yeah.
I do 60% of the mix using those. And this was like a couple years ago, so I didn't have these Sonys yet. But then I switched to my nicer headphones as like my full range, and I finished the mix there. But like in the same way that I'd work with NS10s, I'd start with NS10s and then switch to my JBLs. But like I feel like those little earpods are voiced similar to NS10s. They're harsh, mid-rangey, and no bottom end. So if you want... And this is the thing, you talk about the beats, you talk about the close back giving you more low end. Like, it does, but it's like a resonance. I don't want that when I'm mixing, because I don't want to be fooled into thinking that there's low end that isn't there. It's almost better for me if it isn't, because most people's listening. I mean, how many times have you been at a friend's house and they're like, yo, you want to hear some music? And they just open their laptop and press play. And you just sit there going, you were just insulting my whole career path. But like, that's the truth. That's the truth out there. And so if you want bass to translate in all those places, you kind of got to be used to those speaker systems that don't have low end. Can I still feel the bass? Can I still hear the kick? That's why I don't want extra low end in my headphones. I just want flat, correct reference. But yeah, I am now at the point where, like, just this past fall, I went to Mexico for a wedding, and I just extended my stay at the Airbnb for like 2 extra weeks. I was like, I'm just going to kick it around here and mix every day. And instead of like going and getting burritos in San Francisco, I'm going to walk around and get tacos on my mix breaks. Because I don't need to be home anymore. I can work in headphones. And that is with headphones like these, like just make it easier and easier and easier. And VME, again, just makes it easier and easier and easier to be straight up digital nomad. I'll go stay anywhere. It's just good to get away from home. I love my home, but I love it more when I take breaks.
Yeah. And real quick, something that we usually forget all the time, no matter how big the studio is, majority of the consumers are listening in headphones. So that alone right there only says we need to pay more attention to what that experience is like, regardless of how accurate it is in the studio, in the space of speakers, cars, or whatever. 80 to 90% is listening in headphones. So I think now it's just, it's so important.
It's such a big part of everyone's lives on the listener side, but especially in your guys' side. And I still remember the first time I had my Sony Walkman on, and I think I was 11 years old, and I was listening to stuff like the English Beat. And I think I was listening to ABC. I finally stopped listening to my tapes and just put the radio on, and it sounded so amazing and blew me away. I'm sure if I listen to it now, it was Sony product, but things have changed so much over the years, and the quality is so much better.
How many people remember the Sony PSP? PlayStation Portable? I always get feedback on this mic. That's crazy. So, thank you. Oh, must be this. Either way, so I can follow up to your point. I now remember my story. So when I was younger, when probably like 2004, 2005, PlayStation Portable just dropped. That was the hottest. You remember that, bro? The hottest joint out. Bring it back. And it just came out, bro. And so I actually had a Sony pair of headphones. It was the in-ears. Had a microphone on it. And I never knew that you could get, there must be a field around here somewhere. I never knew that you could get the full sound from the video game music that's coming out of the PSP speakers within headphones. And so I plugged the headphones into the bottom of the PSP port, and I actually got the full dynamic range of the music that was coming from the PSP itself. Thank you, whoever fixed that. And so it just let me know that when you're listening to things in headphones, you can actually hear a certain quality that you can't. Obviously, you can't hear the same. You won't hear the same quality through a PlayStation Portable head. What am I trying to say? Speakers as headphones, right? But when you plug the headphones in, you get the full dynamic range of everything that you thought you could hear, and then you get more than that. So if you're playing Call of Duty, you're playing NBA 2K, you're playing Madden, you're hearing vocals, and you're hearing voices on the court, because my boy Sean plays a lot of 2K. You're hearing vocals on the court, you're hearing the race cars in Need for Speed go from left to right. And at the time, the technology was so advanced that even some of the sounds that you're hearing in the game, you didn't realize that they actually went in the studio and recorded said sounds. Because as a gamer, as a little kid, you're not thinking about what you're listening to as in that manner. You're thinking of it as, I'm playing a video game, it sounds cool, it's fun. But then you plug the headphones in, and you're low-key in a whole entire new world now. So it's a testament to the fact that the technology lasts its test of time.
Very cool. Love all these stories. Anyone have any questions for this esteemed panel up here? I'm sure you guys have something you want to ask about headphones or about their personal experience. Favorite headphones that you use?
Just favorite headphones, or for? Honestly, it's these. I'm a convert. I was like overnight. I at the beginning you missed it, but I'm very conservative about switching, and like I don't care if they're better. I just want to go with what I know. And then I heard these for the first time 2 months ago, and right away was like, these sound exactly how I want things to sound. They are comfortable and light, and I could wear these longer hours than any other pair. And I just knew within 5 minutes, I'm like, these are my new daily drivers. And in the last, it's only been 2 months, but in 2 months, they have been my daily headphones. And I have done a lot of work for video games, for music clients, like across the board, and music production. I've done all of it in these headphones. And yeah, I keep my other headphones around. But actually, I just traveled down. I'm staying at my mom's house for an extra 2 weeks. So I'm here in Orange County, but I'm going to be staying with my mom for 2 weeks. And I did not bring the other pair because I was like, you know what? I only need these Sonys. I already trust after 2 months. This is going to get the job done.
Nice. I think we've also learned that Scott's a really good son. That's been a big part of this panel. So, anyone else have any questions? Anything at all? Any other new projects you guys want to talk about? Make sure everyone's aware of.
In the pro audio space, right now I'm working on some really interesting catalog stuff for James Brown.
Very cool.
So it's really fun. Actually, it's not really that much fun, but it's cool.
Cool, yeah.
Just trying to decide if I want to keep things in mono and not go into the stereo realm, just to keep the content and just the feel of what was being made at that time stable. Those are like the creative decisions that I have to think about, and it's interesting because the reason why I thought about that was because I listened on a pair of MDR-MV1s, and I was like, fuck, I probably can't have this too stereoized because it's gonna change the whole vibe. So it's an interesting project. And then in my personal music, I'm also an artist, so I just released a single not too long ago. And I'm experimenting with the same kind of things, just in the immersive space. I'm experimenting with distortion. And it's just, I'm just trying to stay against the grain and do things different and just new. So that's why I fall in line with everything that Sony's doing, because they are for the creatives. And yeah.
Awesome. You guys are all creative that way, so it's exciting to have you all here and to share all your stories and your experience with these headphones with everybody. So thanks for coming. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your time in NAMM.